To A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm your host, Tomás Garza, and I hope that you're having a beautiful day, wherever you are and whatever it is that you're doing. And I really hope that you're having fun, right? I hope that you're having some fun today, so don't forget that. This is such a beautiful lesson in the workbook that we're covering today, and that's Workbook Lesson 91, that really I want to launch right into it. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in, whether you're catching this live or on the replay. Thank you for all your likes, loves, comments, the hearts, the shares. Those are beautiful. So thank you so much for your continued participation. And EWN, by the way, so thanks you for your support of their fantastic programming, all of the shows. So thank you on behalf of the network as well. All right. So we're launching into this. Lesson 91, we've finished a review period. And yesterday, I want to invite you to go back and take a look at yesterday's live stream, where I talked about the simplicity of spirituality. And you're going to see that in play today when we talk about this idea. And that is, miracles are seen in light. All right? Miracles are seen in light. That's lesson 91 in the workbook. It's a pretty simple statement, and it's beautiful. It's resonant. Miracles are seen in light. So what does that mean? Well, let's get into that. The miracle, as A Course in Miracles describes it, is always there. So another way of looking at it is, who we are is always there. Love is always there. God is always there. Our limitlessness is always there. In other words, we are limitless. We are strong, right? We are love itself. It's always there, even when we forget. Not if, but when, right? Because it's when in this world, when we forget, when we act out of fear, when we are unloving, when we lash out, when we find ourselves carried away by our habitual tendencies away from the present moment and fretting about something that happened yesterday, or fretting, worrying, anxious about something that may or may not happen tomorrow. When we find ourselves carried away, it happens all the time, right? That is not light. Light is in the present moment. In fact, it is the present moment. This is why spiritual traditions emphasize the present moment so much. That's why it's become a pop culture saying from the movies to live in the now, dude, right? When people are saying live in the now, they mean let's bring ourselves back to the present, the only moment that we actually have. And it is the only one that we have. And it is where light is. Now, the light has never gone anywhere. When we're carried away, we're in darkness. And it may not feel like it's dark. It may not feel heavy or oppressive or like drudgery to you. But when we take ourselves away from the present, it is darkness. It's confusion. In fact, according to the Course, it's the very definition of confusion. As we're running around, dazed and confused, just like the song, and afraid, really afraid. This is the world in which we live. We inhabit this. We define and defend our personal territory. And we don't even, a lot of the time, entertain the idea that miracles exist. In fact, they've never gone away. Only our attention has wandered. So it's a very powerful realization And when that dawns on a person, on a spiritual practitioner, it's a beautiful moment. Because with the responsibility of knowing that we're in control comes a tremendous release. The tremendous release of all of the drama, a tremendous release of our sense of powerlessness, that we're puppets on a string being dangled around by evil, vindictive gods and goddesses that are playing with us and taking bets on how much we can suffer, right? It's not the way it is. We're in control of our own suffering or happiness, no matter how overwhelmed we may feel in the moment. What A Course presents is quite simple. It's truth with a capital T, which is common to every spiritual tradition in the world. It underlies it. That's one of the beautiful things about the time that we live in, the 21st century. There are far more people who are willing to entertain the universality of spirituality. All of the commonalities that underlie all of the world's great religions, all of the world's spiritual traditions. There's a source, capital S, of that. That's the way that truth has always been. It's just us that have gotten confused and wandered around in the darkness. So you might find yourself thinking, well, okay, that sounds really good, but this darkness, this confusion is my experience. It's my reality here in the world. So what do I do? I love this question. I mean, this is why we have spiritual practice. It's why we have this workbook, which includes daily suggestions for practice. Now, I use the word suggestions because they really are that. They're suggestions for how you should go about do, and it should really, because I mean, this is Jesus saying, okay, if you want to learn this, do this. But of course, do you have the time every day? Maybe not, right? Do you remember to practice every day? Maybe not. And that's okay, right? Really, that's all right. If you do nothing else, this is true every day. Come back to the idea itself and just repeat it in your mind several times. Miracles are seen in light whenever you remember it and entertain that idea. That'll help a lot, more than you can even imagine. And indeed, for any of these ideas, that's all the workbook suggests that we do, says that we need to do, is just show up and practice them. Just entertain them. They don't have to believe in them. It could seem really implausible, and it can seem very preposterous, insanity even, to a mind that's conditioned to having reality be only what you can see with the body's eyes, and that's provable with Newtonian physics, right? In your biology textbook. Yeah, nothing against Newtonian physics, biology textbook. It's not the whole picture. And because you're watching this, you know that. You know it's not the whole picture. So what do you do when confronted with, if you prefer the word confronted, faced with the truth that the miracle is always there? You just can't see it. Well, that's threatening to the ego. And you might find yourself likely to say that somebody that claims this, like myself, is insane. Yeah, no, not really. But because we're so conditioned in the world, because our habitual tendencies toward fear are so ingrained, they're so inculcated in our value system, in our behavior systems, it's difficult for us to even accept that there might be another way. It's difficult for us to even accept that miracles have always been there and they're our birthright, and we have a right to them. We're entitled to them, which is one of the workbook ideas, and we should rightfully expect them at all times, why they're always there. So if you don't believe that and find this idea a little out there, a stretch, a straining credibility, even completely insane, that's okay. The workbook gives us a way to work with that. And that's today's practice period. So it calls for 3 10-minute meditations today. Now I can feel people watching this saying, oh, I don't have time for that. Well, that's all right. That's all right. Again, if you do nothing else, repeat today's idea. I want to go through in some detail here on the live stream the way the workbook suggests that we practice this. This is very profound. Spirituality is about experience. It's not about belief. You don't have to believe that miracles are seen in light. You don't have to believe that God is, period. It's okay. It's okay if you don't. I mean, you're more than welcome to be here anyway, and you belong here anyway. You totally do. It's okay to be skeptical about that. Why? Because spirituality is not about belief. You know, when you were little, you might have been asked repeatedly, well, do you believe in God? And some of you might have said yes. Some of you might have said no. Some of you might have been completely unsure. But, no problem, right? It's not about belief. It's about experience. Yeah. One of my really, really great human teachers in this lifetime has been Lama Michael Conklin of Kagyu Changchub Chuling in Portland, Oregon. Now, Lama Michael was the head Lama at this a Tibetan Buddhist center in Portland in the United States. And he said something that I just really resonate with, and I want to share that again right now today. I love it. Nothing exists until you experience it. Okay. In other words, be as skeptical as you want to be. That's fine. Nothing exists until you experience it. Once you do, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's no going back once you do. So what we're aiming to do with lesson 91 and the practice period today, or practice periods, I mean, if you can do all 3, great. Absolutely, please do. We're aiming to reach the truth of who we really are. Nothing more and absolutely nothing less, because nothing less will do. You deserve nothing less than the experience of who you really are. You deserve nothing less than the peace of God, your birthright, who you are. So it's waiting for you to experience it and claim it. This is a meditation in lesson 91 where we start off and we recite very, very simply, miracles are seen in light. The body's eyes do not perceive the light, but I am not a body. What am I? All right. Let me repeat that last line again. I am not a body. What am I? You are not a body. This is an idea that is deeply threatening to the ego, which of course identifies us as a body. And that's how we run around leading our lives. It's not who we are. And A Course in Miracles just beautifully and truly and succinctly comes right out and says it. We'll meet this idea again later on in the workbook. I am not a body. So how do you drop your disbelief in that? Well, you experience that you're not. Nothing exists until you experience it. Once you experience the fact that who you are is not at all dependent on anything external, including the body, once you experience that, you'll know there's no going back. So we recite miracles are seen in light. The body's eyes do not perceive the light, but I am not a body. What am I? I think you know. Do you not? Yeah, I think you know. Let's just have you experience this. Now, this calls for a meditation of several minutes, which I won't do here on the live in the interest of time. But the practice has us sit with this and make an effort to reach our real strength. And there are statements that you could utter to yourself. You don't have to say them out loud. They can be done internally. I am not weak, but strong. I am not hate, but love. I am not limited, but limitless, and so on and so on. I am not doubtful, but certain. A reassertion of who you are. I say reassertion because the truth of this does penetrate deep down. It does resonate with all of us. That's why we're seeking. That's why we're seeking. We're getting back to who we really are. So when you hear people talk about spirituality as an unlearning, as peeling away layers of an onion, that's exactly what it is. We're training ourselves to let go. We're training ourselves to drop the conditioning that has run the show the whole time, that has governed every interaction that we've had in any form. All of it based on the simple mistake, and it's just a mistake, that we are the ego, running around in the ego's temple, the physical body. So, as with all workbook lessons, it is not expected that you immediately believe that you're not a body. I mean, it can sound like a very audacious, very brash assertion indeed, can't it? So entertain the idea that miracles are seen in light. That's why we're entitled to them. We're not a body. Who are we? Ask that question. I encourage you to follow this practice period today as it's presented in Workbook Lesson 91 to the best of your ability. Now, A Course in Miracles attracts people, doesn't it? And people fall away from it, right? Have you ever started the workbook and put it down for one reason or another? It's very common. It's very common. Why? It gives us something to do. Why? Because our minds are undisciplined, and meditation, spiritual practice, prayer, devotionals, workbook lessons in A Course in Miracles are practices to help us train the mind, which we need to do. We need to do that. And it's a beautiful thing to have a tranquil mind. It's, as the Course says, not a small gift. A tranquil mind is not a small gift. So we practice and we reach for the experience, the direct, beyond words experience of who we really are. But we've got to ask the question, what am I? Or who am I, if you prefer? I like them both. So ask that. Ask that today. I invite you. I invite you. It's always an invitation to simplicity. That's what spirituality is all about. That's what peeling away layers of an onion is all about. That's what lifting a veil is all about. That's what parting the clouds is all about. Whatever visual metaphor you choose to use, that's what it's all about, is cutting through all the drama, all of the layers. Now, if you prefer, as I do in common parlance, to insert another word for drama, then by all means, please do that. Cutting through the, yeah, I mean, let's cut that, shall we? Because it's really getting in our way, isn't it? The drama is getting in our way. It impedes us. It prevents us from lifting the veil. It makes us not want to lift the veil. It makes us not want to walk through a fog bank of cloud because it seems big and scary and cold and wet and imposing. Yeah, it's insubstantial. Just walk through it. That is a metaphor that the Course uses quite a bit, and I love it because that's what these illusions are like. They fall away in the light. Miracles are seen in light, not in darkness. If you remain in darkness, how can you expect to see them? You can't. It's not possible. They're seen in light. So, all right, let's check in and see who's joining me here on the live today. I've seen a couple of people share this out, so thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. And it's really wonderful to share the beautiful programming of Enlightened World Network with the world. And it is a global audience. So I thank you all for tuning in. It's always a lot of fun. We've had people from literally every continent but Antarctica. And one of these days, somebody's going to be down there with an internet connection, I don't know how, at the South Pole Research Station. And if that's you today, I hope you let me know that, right? Because that would make all of the continents. So it really is global. And it's beautiful because we have the technology to be able to reach each other in this way. And spirituality is universal. So really, it's quite perfect. And hello, people that are joining in. Hope, hi, how are you? Good evening. Yeah, Hope from London. Yes, excellent. And Abba, hi, how are you? It's great to have you back here on the show. And they're creating miracles. Yes, your soul, spirit, more than the body. Absolutely, that's what we are. Yeah, spirit, if you like. You know, if that is the term that people want to use, soul. Yeah, more than the body. What the body is in A Course in Miracles, this is really beautiful. It's of course, a subject for another day. Obviously, I could talk about this for a long time, but it's a communication mechanism. And what we do in A Course in Miracles is give the body over to the Holy Spirit or Jesus or God and allow the higher power to do its thing through us, right? We're a conduit, and the body is a communication mechanism to reach other people. I'm reaching other people because I appear to be talking in this thing. I love it, that this thing that we refer to in the English language as a body. Yeah, I mean, every language has a term for it. The ego thinks it is who you are. It's not who you are. It's a communication mechanism so we can reach other people. And it's necessary here in the world. So that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that we're not that. And it's a beautiful thing that we have all these tools at our disposal and the ability to reach each other. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love that. Lori, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining in here. Yes. Now, Abba, I love this comment, and I'd like to read it here. If you're still here, thank you for sending this comment. When I asked who I am in meditation, I cried so much, realizing we are love. Yeah. Yeah, and I love that. I love that it moved you to the point of tears, that you cried so much. Yeah, I remember there've been a couple of different times in my own spiritual practice with different modalities where I hit upon kind of the truth of who we really are and just cried for days. Um, at one time, my wife Cindy, who was then my girlfriend, was away for a couple of days at a yoga teacher training, and I just entered upon the truth of who we really are, and that was 2 days of just solid crying, and I wasn't even sad. So yeah, I can totally relate to that. I love that. So thank you for leaving that comment. That's really beautiful. And yeah, Abba lives in Nottingham, UK. Okay, very cool. All right, I love it. Thank you all for tuning in, and good evening to you. It's 10:27 here in Arizona, in well, the Mountain Standard Time in North America. So yeah, it's great that we have a global crew on here. All right, so if you have further comments, if you have further questions, feel welcome to please type them into the comments, and I will look at them from time to time today. And tomorrow we're going to continue on in the workbook for students. Each day presents a beautiful idea. And then there are some suggestions for practice. And as always, I'll fill it in with my own experience. And you're welcome to do the same in the comments. So thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you all back here on Enlightened World Network tomorrow. Have